introduce our guests. Let's bring them up in the screen now. You can see Dr. Swapnil Parekh, physician and author, in the screen. Welcome, Swapnil. We also have Dr. Shahid Jamil, one of the country's best-known virologists. He recently quit a government advisory body on COVID. He hasn't so far told us why he did it. I don't know if he will in this program, but we'll try our luck. We'll see what we can get out of him. Dheeraj Nair, chief economist with the Vedanta group, has also worked previously with the Niti Aayog, understands numbers like very few do. Welcome to the program. PKD Nambiar is with us. He's a policy analyst, a political analyst, and a supporter. He and I have often argued about his support for how the government is handling its vaccine rollout, and I have a feeling we'll have an argument today as well. Chandrakant Laheria, well-known epidemiologist, is with us as well.
Well, Barkha, there is no doubt that there are confusion. Some of these confusions are created maybe because of the policy which the central government has come up. Some of these confusions are created by the so-called opposition and some section of the media. Let me now, one of the biggest challenge today, what we are having is that we are today on 130th day or so of vaccine launch in India. We are discussing about the vaccine not available. Whereas the true data, if somebody really wanted to understand the real data, I feel proud with the fact that a country of us, wherein some of a very respected leader, very scholarly leader once said that the India is still a snake charmer's place, have been able to create its own vaccine. And we are the second country in the world after the US who has done more than 21 crores plus vaccination. So I am saying that this is the first time in the world there is a universal vaccination drive is happening. We are talking about 135 crore people to be vaccinated. Everything, whatever we look at from the point of view of a negativity, 130th day, we are expecting 135 crore people to be vaccinated. Forget about that, the kids and everything. 100 crore people. I wanted to actually give you some facts because that actually opens it up. Forget about, I am saying that even today, I don't trust the actual data which is coming from the government as it is, because those data, I come from a background of data, so I understand it. It cannot be accurate. Even in the US, the data which you get is not accurate. Now, let me tell you, in the month of January, when we have launched, do you know that how many states, I want you to do a series of programs, the amount of vaccines we have wasted only because of some of the states, their efficacy. I'll give you the exact data that India has wasted 4.6 million doses so far. 4.6 million doses have been wasted. So before we start criticizing our government, this is not like a bread and jam that any second day and another.
Fact. Okay, you make a good point on the vaccine wastage.
Barkha, you have to
Okay, quickly wrap. I need to go to Chandrakant. Yeah, quickly close your argument. We can come back to you.
I'm only saying that we all have the right to criticize a government. We all have the right, because at the end of the day, elected government is the one which is answerable. We should criticize. But some kind of a people like us who are learned, we are educated, we have seen the world, let us criticize little practically. You cannot vaccinate the entire population of this country this way. 11% of the people in this country have been received. At least one dose. Why don't we take what you fact? I have a problem. I think whatever you say, I have only one problem which I have with the government. I must tell you. That is why this 2-3 different set of prices. That is something which I have a problem. But as I said, that one of the biggest challenge today is that over politicization of anything and everything. Even a crisis is highly politicized. I'm not talking about only an opposition. Maybe that may be the way an opposition is supposed to be in India. The same Rahul Gandhi, for an example, has even in the month of January and February, if you had this video bite, you could have actually put it across, even for everybody to understand. He was talking about the efficacy of the vaccination which we are producing. The whole question mark. As the other panelists were talking about, there was a challenge initially, the people were not, even the health workers were not ready to accept the vaccine. You know why? The Kejriwal, Rahul Gandhi, and some of the other people were talking about the efficacy of the vaccine that led to the wastage of vaccine. Even today in Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand, 37 percentage, even today when I'm talking to today as the data of 7 a.m. It can be wrong, but 37 percentage is a waste is the vaccine. In the one of the most progressive state, which is your neighbor
But
state where you
that's
are right now, is in Tamil Nadu. You give me 1 minute, otherwise there is no point of me coming and
sure,
sitting.
sure, sure,
I am
sure.
saying that for an example, in Tamil Nadu, 15.5 percentage is the vaccine is getting wasted. What we all need to understand that the people who understand the basics of maths understand that this cannot be done in a country like India so quickly. This is not something like any other factory, or in I have a factory where I ask that you are come and make it. We have been able to make a PPE kit or a mask, but vaccine is not a PPE kit or a mask that any second household can create.
Okay.
Second, there needs to be so. All right, it's as you wish.
One, no, no, one sentence more, then I'll go to Chandrikant. Complete your point.
So What,
Yeah.
what I'm what I'm talking about is that the only way to ensure that the vaccines are available for all of us, the only way to ensure that there is to bring some amount of a positivity amongst the people, don't create more and more fear. Initially, when we created a fear that the vaccines are bad, then we have created these things that the prices are very high, people are going to die. Then we are now saying that the vaccines are not available. Is there anything good happens in this country? I don't know. Is nothing
Well,
happens.
well, in the
Modi
city
is the
where
worst. Let it be. You say that Modi is bad, Amit Shah is bad, the doctors are all right wing. Everybody is bad, but
this is
then
not right wing and left wing. 1 minute, 1 minute. Okay, I'll let someone else respond. Why am I responding? It's not, but
Barkha, just one point on the data. One point on the
yeah,
data, and
yeah.
I agree that it's a very big country and it takes a lot of effort to vaccinate it. But I'm just again curious that when we also interpret data as we like. So on vaccines, we want to take the absolute number. On deaths, we want to take the per million number, right? Because that suits the narrative better. So I mean, data, there's data. You torture the data, and it'll confess to anything,
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
and unfortunately,
Absolutely.
as Professor Jamil said,
wrong,
this is not
wrong.
a
I want to
democratic.
study
I'm not
economics and
saying
data. Both. That is my core area too. Let's
I'm
talk.
not saying
Let's
it's
talk on the data. Let's talk on the pure data. I hold the entire data with me. I am saying the government data in this country, I don't believe it as it is. But even there is no other data available because all the other data which you come from any of the manufacturing companies or the foreign data are all motivated. I am only talking about, let's talk about the data which you have, whether it is from any of the private companies or any of the vaccine companies, any of the international countries which has vaccinated and versus India. I am saying that in India, the governments have done so much of bad things. Their strategy may not have, but in the meantime, in a crisis, every decision is taken from the point of view of a dynamic. Whether it is a crisis is always a dynamic situation. Barkha, you have covered the Kargil war and so much like a soldier. Tell me, is the army on the borders take a decision strategically every day differently? So yes, in a crisis, every decision by any government, forget about a Modi government or a
Okay,
Kejriwal
okay.
government, it is a
Can I come in
dynamic
now?
situation.
Can I come
No
in now?
economist can ever
Okay, we have.
dictate or
Okay,
come with a
PPT.
proper data in this country.
Okay.
You tell me one data
We all
which
agree that
happen.
we all agree that the data is flawed. But I think Dheeraj's point is that you can't say that you can't take absolute numbers for one benchmark and percentage of population for another, and that's what happens with deaths and vaccinations
No,
a
no,
lot
no.
of
This is
time.
precisely
Okay,
my
I have
answer.
to move
I
on.
am
I
talking about you
PK,
bring
listen,
two
Andrea,
data. I am
I have
ready to give
five
you
minutes left. Okay,
contest that data.
okay, you
I am
cannot
ready to
now.
give you the
Sir,
real
sir,
context
I
data.
think you've spoken a
I personally believe that there are some of these communication or some of these strategy has really worked bad. I mean, at least to create some kind of a confusion. I'm still to become 45, so I personally thought I will not go and jump the queue or use my resources to go and get vaccinated. But then sometimes I feel that I should have done it. There is so many people who go again and get mobility. You can afford it and you go and buy it, but then there is too much of a confusion amongst the people that state is buying on another price, the center is buying on another price, and the private companies are buying another price. I believe that is something which I personally believe that is wrong. But on the contrary, there is another one last quick comment. The only thing which I feel is that why I use this word dynamic is that tomorrow, for an example, I was talking to a very one of the topmost physician in the world in US. It happened to be a client of mine. He said, "Yeah, tomorrow there is the medicine for this. These things comes." So, I mean, then this whole vaccination process may also get over. I don't know whether it is true or not because many doctors are on this panel. I may not be the right person. So, I believe that we will have to deal with this crisis as it comes in. We are living in a scientific world. Every day there can be something else come. Tomorrow, yesterday I was reading somewhere that the vaccination may be ready, available in a single dose, that too through a nasal spray or something like that. So I believe that let us not criticize. We ask questions is good. I think we should, in a democracy, we should ask the question. That is our right. But let's not criticize just the government just for the heck of doing it. That is where I have an issue, Barkha.
Let us all know where
But
things are
these
going.
data are available, not completely. These data are purely available on the Ministry of Health. Put up the data of how much are we procuring and how these vaccines are being distributed to each state and how much time they are
It's
even.
not there. We don't know what's right now. We don't
available.
know what state governments are doing. We don't know what private sector is doing. That's
No,
50% now.
that's precisely I said these. So sometimes what happens now, we hear social media should not be the source of information. I sometimes feel that I run a social media agency too, but then that should not be the source of information. Please go to the Ministry of
No,
Health.
1 minute. What he's saying is
It's
that
not there, sir.
50% of the vaccines are not reflected on that website because they're being not handled by government. They're not being handled by this.
No,
You are
again, wrong. I'll tell you,
what are
50% is central. No, 1 second. 50% central government is going to the quota of central government, which there
Yes.
is data saying how they have been distributed to each state on a pro rata basis depending upon the population.
Yes.
Second is the 50%, wherein the state governments have been told to procure that with 25%
But
can be
there
bought.
is a third layer. Or can I say something and then I have to close?
25% can
I'm
go to the.
responding. I'm
Yeah.
responding to you only. I'm sitting at a
Please.
private club in Bangalore,
Hmm.
right? They have sourced these vaccines from hospitals at not at the rate, right? We have to pay like what at a lot of these private places, people are paying 2,000 rupees. You've seen advertisements now in hotels, like there are vaccine
Yeah.
weekends being offered,
True
right? So
enough,
we are
true
living
enough.
in that sort of dystopian, unequal India where
Correct.
there are village clinics that don't have vaccines and there are five-star hotels. This is the village clinic I was in most recently, which said vaccine uplabdh nahi hai,
Hmm.
right? So I'm just saying that to compute when procurement and pricing is at three levels, it's very complicated. How are these private camps getting their vaccines? We don't know. How are they being
I'll
able
tell
to
you another
procure
scam.
it?
I will
Acha,
add one more scam. I will add
acha,
one more scam to you.
okay, another
Another
program on it
scam is
another
that
time because we've crossed an hour. I want to give Shahid the last
there are
word.
some of the people who are buying in bulk. The rich people are buying in bulk and keeping it. So there is another scam. But this
Yeah,
will all happen in such a large country.
but Shahid,
You can
yeah,
only try and limit it, enforce the law on these
okay,
people. What can
okay.
you do?
I want to for watching. Good night. We'll have that special report tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Good night.